How are you, sir?
I'm doing good, Mr. Bell. Good. It feels good to be back in this room.
Yeah, how
Feels
about
good to
that?
be back here. It's been a while.
All right, come say
How
hi
you been?
now.
All right. Well, I have the link now. I'm like, hey, this link is still good, so I'll definitely be back.
Beautiful, beautiful. So Raymond, we had a really good talk a week or so ago. It was right after Bold ended, and you and I worked together in the coaching program for a couple months. Then you earned an opportunity to join a team, and
Mhm.
I'm super excited for that, and I was really happy to see how much success you've had and all the learning that you've done from coaching to your work with the new team and your commitment to and your investment in yourself through a program like Bold. Um,
Mhm.
kind of, can you just go back to the very beginning and just tell us a little bit about your journey and
Mhm.
maybe highlight some of the most important um, kind of concepts and training and help that you've gotten along the way?
Yeah, definitely. So when I came in, I was more of the pandemic kind of showed me like, hey, like there's a better career out here for you than what you're doing right now. So that was really a part of my career shift to real estate. And I mean, me and you talked about it, right? As far as the reasoning for getting into it in the first place, right?
Mhm.
So, so I did that. I would say when I first came in, and I mean, you probably heard this a million times. I mean, that you're drinking from a water hose, it really is a real thing, right? I mean, so we had a couple conversations when I was in PC, and you really just kind of like sharpened it down, like, hey, well, you know, so as a new agent, this is what you should be looking for: contracts, right? I mean, contracts was like a big thing. I mean, because you can work with people, but if you can't get them to the closing table, right, it's difficult. So that was great. So we were talking about doing contracts, really just kind of getting to the point of like open houses and building your database, working with the database. So we started there, and like you said, you did this class on open houses, and I was like, oh man, like that was my one thing that day, right? And I was like, okay, my one thing is let's try open house. And I put myself out there, and I went on Facebook, and I was like, hey, anybody need me to do an open house? Like, let me know, right? And so I went and I did the open house, and it went great. That agent actually spied on me, right, in the open house, and I ended up we ended up speaking about the open house later on, and then the opportunity to join the team came on. So it was just kind of one of those being new, like taking what I was already learning, and then putting that into like the team environment. That's really kind of where I think really for me, and I'm gonna just tell you, Bill. I feel like I got pretty lucky. I hopped on the team. It was just me, right? I mean, so it was just kind of one of those like, wow, like I thought it was gonna be like 700 people here. I thought it was gonna be like 30 people here, right? So it was just, man, like for me getting my license in January to be able to come in, learn PC, get into PC, meet people through PC. I will tell you too, just full disclosure. I mean, me and Candace were talking about a land property, and I kind of brought it up to Candace because I was just super nervous, just about the opportunity in itself. I just told her that it came my way, and she gave just really great advice.
Mhm.
She really did. She really did, and the advice was simple. It's like, hey, at the end of the day, I mean, you know, this is what you're getting into, which is, I mean, the whole team concept. But she said, but at the same time, I know this is what you can do. So man, it was just invaluable. You know what I mean? I mean, like getting the knowledge that I got from you, like learning from Candace, it was just invaluable.
I think one thing that I noticed from afar was we help our agents be able to be ready for opportunity when it
Hmm.
comes. And if you get in the way of opportunity, you find opportunity, right? And you
Yeah.
found opportunity because you raised your hand and said, hey, I'm going to do an open house. I'm going to
Hmm.
meet another agent. I'm going to help another agent. right? And I'm going to do a really good job, and I'm going to earn the right for opportunities, right? And it's that kind of thing that's going to cause you to have more choices, right? And more paths that you can follow, and more opportunities to expand your knowledge base, and obviously to to grow as a business person. So
Absolutely.
let's talk for a second about Bold.
Yes.
I feel like our talk last week, in some ways, you were like a whole different person.
Oh man.
What did Bold do for you?
Uh, Bold, the first thing that it did is that it changed your overall perspective, right? Like, it changed your,
Go back on the video now. Okay.
yeah, somebody was calling me, sorry about that. But it changed my perspective from the moment I sat in Bold, right? And it was like, hey, before we start doing all of this learning, right? I really want you to change your mind to, hey, whenever things aren't going to go your way, like this is going to happen, that's going to happen. But before any of that happens, what are you grateful for, right? I mean, you get into real estate and you're like, man, okay, I want to learn, I want to make money, right? I want to meet people, I want to help people, and then you go down this path of trying to accomplish all of those things, and the thing that stuck to me was that when he said, well, what are you grateful for? And then you're like, okay, stop. Like, you know what? I'm grateful for my family. I'm grateful for PC. I'm grateful for the support that you get. And like when you start with at words of affirmations, or you start with what you're grateful for, and we do this in team meetings too. That was the first thing that was for me. And then the second thing was the bold laws. The bowl loss. Okay, so all right, now you know what you're grateful for, right? I want you to pick something that can be your constant reminder throughout the day, throughout the week, throughout bowl, and you just kind of pick those. And the great thing is they wanted you to pick one every week, so you constantly were reprogramming your mind to just think about different things.
So
So that was great.
first of all, I want to recognize you for participating, right? There's a difference between doing Bold and attending Bold, right?
Right.
It's just as easy to turn on your camera or turn off your camera and kind of have it playing in the background and not engaging and not doing the assignments and not being fully present. Just it's very obvious from your, what you just said, that you played all in, right? You didn't just blow it off. You picked a bold law each week, and it helped kind of center you and give you the appropriate perspective all week long. I'm going to put you on the spot. What's the bold law that you're thinking about right now?
Easy, easy. What you focus on expands.
So what are you focused on, Raymond?
Well, what I was focused on, I don't want to get off topic, but what I was focused on was making money, right? And I guess the bowl law really kind of made me think in reverse, if that makes sense. So it was really saying, hey, like you're focused on cold calling, right? But so you're so wrapped up in cold calling where really you want to focus on lead generation. And what are all the different facets of lead generation? And it made me ask different questions, right? So hey, what else could I be doing besides cold calling, right? Like
Yeah.
obviously it's reaching out to your database, but I mean, hey, another part of lead generation is like, hey, door knocking, and a guy in our team was door knocking, and me and him connected, and like, hey, let's set up a time and go do door. So it just said, hey, like if you when you focus on lead generation, the thought of lead generation isn't so complex because there's so many different things to do that's considered lead generation,
Yeah.
right? So I felt like if I didn't cold call all day, I didn't get anything done, right? And that's not true. Just calling somebody in your database, like
That's right.
that's lead generating. So it just made me think in reverse. Like, yeah, you're so focused on getting to this point, but hey, focus here and then watch your thought. Like it just changes how you thought about that particular thing. And it made me get more information about specific things to kind of help me along.
Great. So what's next for you?
So what's next for me is two things, right? So going through Bold, I printed, and I mean, you're probably going to yell at me later, but I printed the economic model that you gave me in week 3,
Yep.
right? So I actually printed it, I put it on paper, and I'm looking at it right now,
Oh, love that.
right?
Why
I
would I
mean,
yell at you
literally,
for that?
well, I mean, just saying, I mean, it could have been on there 3 months ago, right? 4 months
Oh,
ago. Right, like it could have been
right.
on the wall, right, instead of in my PC, in my laptop, where I gotta, go in and go grab it.
Yeah, we talked
So
about visual stuff, right?
right, right, and so that was number one, and then number two was the journal. The journal is, I'm really having fun with doing the journal. It's probably, I mean, it's probably my top like 3 or 5 things from Bold, where you get to talk to yourself every day,
Yeah.
right? Not like in a deranged way, right?
No.
But you literally get to reflect every day
Yeah.
of what was great, what wasn't so great, right? I mean, not necessarily what can be you do differently, but what can you do more of,
Yeah.
right? To kind of push you forward. So those are my two,
I love
economic
that.
model and the journal.
Yeah. I think ultimately you got to, for people, I hear people say a lot, oh, I've taken Bold, I've done that before. And then if I'm kind of feeling a little smart, I might say, so how did it affect your business? And they say, not so much. I'm like, you probably just attended Bold. You didn't do Bold. Like
Right,
there's no new habits that were created from your how you participated in Bold, right? And one of the things
right,
that I'm sure I'll admire about you is the fact that I know these are these are going to be habits that you have adopted and that carry with you as you're building your business in the future, because you've seen how impactful they are. What's going to be really interesting
absolutely,
is going back in a year and seeing the type of things that your mind was producing in the middle of 2021,
absolutely.
right?
And yeah, and if I can cheat a little bit, I'll add a third. Especially, if I know your PC group is going to see this, is the DTD2
Yeah.
is probably a close second to that as well. I mean, that put everything in perspective. I hope everybody in PC sees this and say, hey, if you can get your hands on DTD2, it's crazy, right? I mean,
So
we're so selective as new agents where DT, it gives you a blueprint on who should talk, who would you talk to, how often should you talk to them, how do you have to communicate? You don't have to call everybody. Some people you can text, right, to kind of stay in contact. So DTD2 is a close second.
I love that because it really gives you structure to the assignment, right? If I say, hey, call
Definitely.
people, you're like, who do I call? When do I call them? What do I say? If you have a system like that in place, then you just follow the system. Hey, I'm supposed to call people whose last name ends in B and D, and those that end in O, I'm going to text, right? Super
Absolutely.
simple. Next week, there'll be a different assignment. All right, last question for you, Raymond.
Hmm.
Um, it sounds like there's been, and I might be putting words into your mouth right now, but it sounds like there's probably two big kind of things that have kind of created your trajectory
Hmm.
since you came in January. One, I think, is being involved in PC, and then I think secondly is being on the team and
Hmm.
taking Bold, right? So probably three. So what
Okay.
advice do you have for agents that are in PC, that aren't in PC? What should people be doing as they get started? Because I think they can look to you,
Hmm.
say, hey, here's a guy, he's working with a top producer, he's been to Bold, he's journaling. I mean, if I had
Hmm.
told you in January you were going to be a journaler, you probably would have laughed at me, right?
That is a fact.
So give
That's
me
a fact.
give these agents some advice. What should they be focused on right now?
So number one is it really is lead generation, right? Um, I mean, I would say a lot of agents I spoke to, right? We all kind of thought the same. Is that, oh, my database? Oh, I'm not worried about my database. Oh, my database. I know they don't have this. I know they don't have that, right? And you kind of judge your database before you even give it a chance, right? And I think that's the biggest thing. I think that if I were doing these things with my database back then in February, I think it would be a different story, right? I
Yeah.
mean, because you kind of say, oh, well, they don't do this and they don't do that. So that, number one is your database. I mean, talk to people, let them know what you're doing, guys. I mean, everybody in your cell phone, on your social media, they should know that you are in real estate. If you know, and I got this advice last week, is that if you can't pick up your phone and call somebody random and they can't confirm that you're in real estate,
Well,
you
they're
gotta
right. They're going to go choose a different realtor. Right.
right. And you're
Right.
gonna miss out on that. So database, and then also too, I would say contracts is a big thing. So lead generation, and kind of just really really work at your craft, right? I think that's a loaded statement, but if you can learn how contracts work, it's really easy. I think it makes it really easier for you to kind of come along. I think also too is that I would say something that I wish I would have done differently was, well, I mean, it's still pretty new, but I think talk to as many agents as you can. I think that we don't, as new agents, you think you're collaborating, but you're not really collaborating on the right things,
Yeah.
right? You know, like, hey, if you're doing a contract sometime soon, would you mind if I kind of just mirror you? You know, kind of look, you know,
Yeah.
watch it while you go through the contract. You know, like, hey, do you mind if I watch you do an open house? I think we talk to people to kind of see how they're doing, but we're not asking to see what they're doing. I
Yeah.
mean, I know people are busy, and I know, you know, that's not going to always be a thing, but I think that as a new agent, just try to collaborate a lot more with people. I mean, because you can watch videos and it really is beneficial, but I think the kind of thing that kind of not fast tracks you, but kind of fast tracks you is when you are asking people, how do you do it? Hey, would you mind if I see, you know, the next time you have to do a contract, you know, hop on a Zoom call? I mean, those are the things I think that really help you hone your craft.
Yeah.
And I would recommend somebody new.
Thank you. Thank you. One of the things that I would want to recognize is you have taken the advice that I probably said a handful of times, which is you've got to get intentional about learning something every day, right? And
Literally.
you know, if you and you got to invest in yourself, right? Through time, through practice, through courses like Bold, and you're a different person, right? You think differently, and likely you're going to get different results because of an investment that you made in yourself to join PC, and ultimately to join a team, and ultimately to invest in Bold. So
Absolutely.
I'm excited for to watch you, you know, kind of excel in all of the journeys that you have ahead. You know, it's my honor to have been involved in the beginning of your journey, and
Absolutely.
you know, I feel really lucky to kind of be in your corner, and I love seeing these kind of results, right? I love when
Absolutely.
an agent is happy and they're learning and they're having fun, and you know, the sky's the limit, man.
Hey, I appreciate it, Bill. I think one thing I'll leave on is that you tattooed in my brain that if you get in the bed, if you get in the bed, right, to go to sleep, if you haven't done one thing to learn about, if you haven't learned one thing about real estate today, how can you sleep at night?
That's right. How are you getting intentional every day about getting smarter?
Like how are you going to bed without learning one thing? I mean, literally, Bill, I literally think about that every day.
Yeah,
I mean, my
that's
schedule is
awesome.
different now. I mean, I listen to Millionaire Real Estate Agent every day for 10 at least 10 minutes. So, I mean, but it's still like as a new agent, I mean, man, like that's something like you said that really helps with the intention
Yeah,
side of it. You know, like hey, literally, and I think one thing too is just gaining context as I went along is that it doesn't have to be 6 hours of learning, like just 10 minutes, right?
yeah,
You know, 10 minutes, a 20-minute video, right?
yep.
Where you just kind of just sit to the side and just listen. Like, I mean, when I started with Millionaire Real Estate Agent, it was just 10 minutes. Like at 10 minutes, I put the book down. Like hey,
That's right.
right? And if I wanted to keep going, then great. But the whole thing of like, hey, like just do 10 for now, do 10. And then now I listen to it the entire way to work, on my way in. So I think it's just, taking that, man, and then getting the context, like, hey, like do these things. Just start something, start somewhere.
Yep.
It'll keep going.
Yep. It's a
It'll
long journey.
expand.
It's a journey, right? As of now, you can't buy the real estate knowledge chip and insert it into your arm. Right?
Literally,
You
right?
got to put it in manually, right?
No, literally. And when they say like direct deposit, like, hey, like you gotta do two direct deposits, right? I mean, you gotta do direct deposit of knowledge and then direct deposit, and then that translates into,
And
all of those
you better
other
meet
things.
people too, right?
Oh no, most definitely. I mean, most definitely. And keep your business card, or just say hey. I mean, it's different. And then also just saying hey to the people you know. I mean, it's the easiest part. Say
Yeah.
people you already know, people that already know you. Sometimes people get nervous about meeting a stranger. Well, then don't. Then call somebody that's been in your phone that
Yeah.
you haven't talked to in 7 years. Like literally, just call.
Exactly. Listen, Raymond, I really appreciate your time today.
I
It's been a
appreciate you, Bill.
pleasure to be in business with you, and I'll be watching you from afar. And as you know, I'm always here to support you. So thank you and
Absolutely.
congratulations on all your efforts and all your accomplishments thus far. And I'll
Thank
see you
you.
soon. Okay.
That means a lot, Bill. I appreciate it, man. Thanks for having me.
My pleasure. Take care now.